So we're back. This time it's going to be a kind of a beginner's guide on how to play the US Navy Tier 10 gearing. We're going to be going over things like the captain skills, the modules, what kind of premium stuff you need to take, and we're actually going to go over something a little bit different in the gameplay section. We're actually going to be covering, holy moly, we're going to be covering a ranked battle that I did relatively recently, and we're also going to be covering a random battle, just to give maybe a little bit of different perspective on how you can maybe vary up your playstyle, because this ship is really kind of a hybrid of like a gunboat and a torp boat. So knowing how to play those two different styles is perfect for this ship. But without further ado, let's get into some captain skills. Alright, so this is what you're going to want to take if you're going to play the gunboat variant. This could probably work for the, no, not the gunboat, the torp boat variant. This would probably work for the gunboat too, but I haven't tried it out all that much, so bear that in mind. You're going to want to take preventive maintenance, which is kind of an NADD, you're going to want to take that. Adrenaline rush, always good for more DACA. Last stand, again, this is bog standard stuff for DDs. Survivability expert, superintendent, and concealment expert. Now in this ship I don't have a 19-point captain, but when I do, you're obviously going to want to take radio location. That's just a given. This is kind of a, I would say more just core DD build than anything else. There's no real kind of focus on one aspect of the ship or the other. So this could be useful for pretty much any USDD. The whole line would benefit from this kind of build. So with that in mind, let's go back to the modules. Alright, so modules. Main armament modification number 1. Propulsion, obviously. Aiming system's good, because you want that gunboat accuracy when you're farming BBs. Propulsion. One thing I have noticed about this ship actually is that the acceleration is actually pretty decent, and then when you combine that with propulsion mod, and the propulsion mod 1, it makes it really snappy, really quickly to respond, which is always beneficial. Again, you're going to want the concealment mod, which is just basically standard stuff. And now, because I run the gunboat variant on this ship, I take torpedo tubes modification. Now, you can do different stuff with this. You could probably go in more AA focused build, but I think for me, once the carrier rework kind of happened, the AA effectiveness of this ship kind of went down a lot. I mean, if you're going to get dropped by rocket planes regardless of how much AA you get, there's no real point speccing into it. But that being said, you can obviously go for the AA spec if you wish. There's a couple of different other specs, but we're not going to go into that right here. But yeah, so I go for the torpedo boat because I play it predominantly as a torpedo boat. Now I have noticed a bit of a discussion about whether to go legendary mod or not to go legendary mod in the ship. For me personally, I don't see the benefit on giving up main battery reload, and I think there's something else for concealment. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, when you equip the 16.5 kilometer torps, I mean, like, you don't really need to worry about concealment all that much. And in this ship, you're not going to be contesting caps all that much, because again, you don't have the gunpowder of, say, a Daring or a Gruzovoy to actually be competitive when you're contesting caps. This is more of kind of like a support DD that could do everything kind of well, but nothing the best, if that makes sense. So again, with premium consumables, smoke, given you're going to definitely need to take smoke premium, and obviously damage control party. These two are absolutely necessary in every single game you go into. Again, acceleration mod, not really all that useful. It adds a bit to your maximum speed, but again, unless outside of very niche situations, you're not really going to need it all that much. But I think that's pretty much it for covering the gearing. We'll go over flags a little bit. Obviously, fire, fire, you don't want to be detonated. So these three are pretty much necessary. Sometimes I take November Foxtrot just to get the faster reload. Because it could be very useful in situations where, say, you're sitting in smoke, you're decoing, and then you get radared. Having that damage gone up maybe a little bit sooner, put out a couple of fires, repair steering gears, like repair your engine, could be extremely useful. And again, you can take Sierra Mike, but again, if you're going to be running this, I don't really see all that much point in running Sierra Mike. Now, if you do run it, again, that's just more of a reason not to take the premium aspect of this consumable. But with that, and then you can obviously take whatever, if you want to take economic flags, that's fine. Whatever you want to, depending on what you're focusing on. But with that being said, let's jump into the first replay. Alright, so we're in the ranked... No, this isn't ranked. This is obviously a random battle. This is going to be the first replay that I'm going to show you. And hopefully this is going to give you more insight on how to play it how the gear plays as a torp boat. Now there is in this game, we are going to focus mostly on torp boating, but again, there is aspects within this where I kind of have to switch automatically to a gunboat. I mean, this is a jack of all trades ship, so if you've never gunboated before, you have to learn. And you have to be adaptive. Otherwise, you're just going to be really useful. Or useless, sorry. And if you're only interested in torp boating, you may as well just go play the Shimakaze. But with that said, we do see they have a Z52, which is on D, and they have two Shimakazes. Now, if we know something about the Shimakazes, is that they cannot contest caps, other than torping right at them. So that makes us, gives us a little bit of room to go and cap C, and start off the game pretty well. See the Republic. This is right here is why I love 16.5 kilometer torps. Look how far away that Republic is from the cap. He thinks he's under no threat at all. So in his mind, he's going to be just keep sailing in a straight line, keep sailing in a straight line. Whereas I've already launched my torps. They're going to hit him. If he does that. Now at this point, this is an error from me. If you look on the minimap, you can see the Salem right there. And as expected, I get radared. And I'm in the open. I'm completely in the open. There's a Thunder right there at 12 kilometers. There's the Republic at 10 kilometers. And with the size of hull I have in this ship. Yep, there comes the volley. I luckily slowed down in time to dodge the majority of the shells. But he does 3,000 damage. Which is not very... It's a bit lucky on my front, because that could have very easily been the end of my game right there. And we see the torps from the Shimakaze coming straight in, but again we're going to dodge them successfully. The radar times out. But again, this kind of goes for playing any DDs. You have to be aware of what the enemy ships can do. That Salem could radar me, and I basically could have died there if I didn't. Well, I could have died regardless.
Torpedoes to starboard.
But you just have to be really observant of sometimes even your own DDs in that situation. But yeah, again, we get away with that, luckily. Obviously the Republic dodges our torpedoes. But we do manage to cap C. So that is one good thing to come out of this. And now we see the Thunder slowly start pushing in. Again, he seems to be sailing in a straight line, something that you should never do, this close to a cap in a BB. It's absolutely ridiculous. We throw out the torps, and we immediately start to gain distance. The last thing I want to be is within detection range of a Thunder with HE loaded. Oh no 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 no. We don't want to go there. Hopefully a couple of these torps will hit, and then if all goes well, we can actually smoke up and start gunboating them down. Because again, the Shimakaze isn't nearby. And yeah, we're great at setting fires because obviously we got the flags and the fire chance on the ship isn't terrible. And the ability to DACA on the ship is actually pretty good.
Smoke generator started.
So again, we lose detection. Not too unexpected. And again, we get a bit lucky because he decides to shoot at smoke for some reason, which leaves him open to be completely burned down. Well, not completely burned down, but gives us the opportunity to start a couple of fires. And this is what I mean when you have to be adaptable. You have to be willing to take maybe that little bit of a risk, try and get a fire, try to get 2 fires. Because remember, he was flooding not that long ago, so his damage comes down, and that fire's going to stick. And we're already up at 51,000k damage. 51,000k. Holy moly, I can't even speak. So again, we're going to get hit by that. We're going to take a huge chunk for that. So a little bit unlucky there. Again, we're aiming so that we hit the back of the ship because we want to set as many fires as possible. We've got 2 in them right now. And remember, the Thunder doesn't have the super heal that the Conqueror does. So any like real substantial damage that he takes is going to stick. So we get 2 fires on him. He's going to burn down for a good while. And we've capped C. So pretty much all we can do on the middle of the map is done. So now I have a choice with either helping out the right hand flank or trying to support the left hand flank in a push that they probably should be a bit further along with than they currently are. Again, you have the Yoshino, the Republic, the Smolensk, and the Minotaur on that right hand flank, or depending on how you look at it, or left hand flank. So we should be able to successfully win this flank pretty easily, with both me and the Shimakaze pushing into it. And someone's getting pretty pissy at the Shima, which is kind of understandable. Again, I throw out torps. They're more so aimed at the Republic than the actual Minotaur because he's going to be long gone by the time they actually reach him. And this is another point actually I want to speak to, is that there's a reason you focus on getting your torpedo reload down so quickly, or so much. Is that you want your rate of fire of torpedoes needs to be almost instantaneous. Almost instantaneous. Because, let's see, again, the game's 15 minutes long. You can probably, and probably takes what? Let's just say a minute and a half to reload torpedoes. So best case scenario, you probably get, what, maybe 7? Or maybe, yeah, maybe 10 actually. 10 torpedo samples. So you gotta make them count, and you gotta fire them quickly and be decisive. It's kind of the same as playing a battleship. You don't have all that many salvos, so you got to make them stick. Again, we get 2 hits here, and we got a flooding. And at this point, this is a perfect scenario. The Minotaur is too far away to hydro. I'm just about 7 kilometers away from the Republic, and I'm free to DACA all I like. So we start opening up in the Republic. My aim's a bit off, obviously. But the aim here isn't actually do all that much substantial damage with the shells, it's to set fires and burn them down, burn them down, burn them down. Because he doesn't have the damage con from the flooding.
Smoke screen set.
So again, at this point, we've pretty much succeeded in winning the left-hand flank. Our right-hand side is completely crumbled and the game isn't looking all that good. And I'm about to make the biggest mistake of my career. Oh no 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 no. Speaking from experience, when I see a DD pop up within 5 kilometers, oh god, it's if I'm playing the Minotaur, it's the best feeling in the world. If I'm playing the DD, it's, well, this kind of feeling. Luckily we get in between an island. I have to dodge my teammate's own torps. And we just managed to get away with it. We get dropped to 208 XP, or HP. We're extremely lucky to get away with that. But right now we're still looking for opportunities to torp. We still want to keep that rate of fire really high, keep going, keep pushing out torpedoes. And our smoke will be up in 1 minute and 20 seconds. I mean, right there, when I was playing this game, I was thinking in my head the Minotaur might have turned away. Minotaur might have turned away. And looking back now, there's no reason for me to leave that smoke. Absolutely no reason. So that was definitely a mistake from me. And as commonly happens, the BBs get a perfect hole within the torpedo line that they get to dodge their way through. That being said, the Thunder decides to turn out again. This Thunder's been a magnet for my torpedoes the entire game.
Torpedoes astern.
But then again, I'm not complaining. So again, we managed to cap A. We keep the caps in our favor, just slightly. We have smoke coming up in 30 seconds. The Thunder's flooding.
Torpedoes direct front.
So again, the game's looking really bad.
Torpedoes astern.
And we've done pretty much all we really could have. We capped C, we held control of it for pretty much the entire game, and then we tried to go and help our team push in the flanks. And if you do this consistently, you'll pretty much win the majority of your games. And at this point, I didn't have smoke up, because generally I think if I smoked there immediately, I might have had a small chance of getting away with it, but when you're that low, there's not really all that much you can do. The Shimakaze does go down, but in a straight 1v1, that Shimakaze would have died with full HP, or even if I had half HP, I say I could probably take him. But I just was too low. We do manage to hit 6 torpedoes, cause 4 floodings. We get 120k damage, which in any other game, probably we would have been on the winning team. But this is... games like this happen, there's not all that much you can do about it. But I hope this gives you a bit more insight into how to play this ship in like a random battle. So with that, let's get on to the next game. And we do lose this game, so take that into account. Alright, so this is going to be the ranked battle version. Because I know ranked is out relatively... oh, it is out right now. So if you're considering playing the gearing, this might actually help you out. But then again, I wouldn't recommend actually playing the gearing in ranked. It's not actually all that good of a ship, to be honest. I'd probably recommend maybe like Smolensk or Smolensk. Yeah, probably just Smolensk. No, but if you actually want to play DDs, probably the Z52 or the Daring would actually be my top picks for ranked, to be honest. Because they can actually contest caps really well. And capping is probably one of the most important aspects. It's one of the more like, it's one of the contention points in ranked games. Generally, after the first like couple of DDs go and contest a cap, the game's pretty much decided, depending on who dies in that scenario. But that being said, we go for the cap on B. The Yu Yang and the Z52 obviously went to A, and they're being radared. So, obviously we're free to cap. So no worries right there. Now, if we look at their team composition, which you should always do before you start a battle, they have the Des Moines, the Hindenburg, Smolensk, Z52, Yu Yang, Kurfürst, Yamato. I don't know, and the Kremlin. I don't know why I read them out in that way, but so be it. Obviously, we have to be wary of the Hindenburg. Has pretty long range hydro, which we should be careful of. Same with the Z52, 6 kilometers I think it is on the Z52. So that's a bit intimidating. And the Des Moines radar, which is 12 kilometers.
All stations,
and when you're playing a map this
designated
small,
target.
and oh god, when you're playing a map this small, that covers basically the entirety of the map. I mean, look at the mini map right now. This circle covers 11.1 kilometers. Now add another kilometer to that, and you're the Des Moines. You're basically covering half the map, and you're not even in the battle. That being said, we launched some speculative torps down the alley, pretty much, as we always do in this map. Because there's so many like straight kind of alleyways, like right down here, right down here, right down here. So you'd be a fool not to launch them. That being said, we get 4 torpedoes, 2 floodings, and the Kurfürst did just damage con, obviously.
Engine
So
boost
this does give us an opportunity to attack it right now. But again, what's happening in my mind is that I'm aware of that radar, I'm aware of that radar. Even though he is 13.4 kilometers away, I'm aware of it. And knowing that the culverts is probably going to get burned down regardless, I decided to save my smoke, I think. And not to waste it. Because we pretty much have control over B, the culvert is going to more than likely burn down. He's down to 10k. He's not really all that much of a threat. And the Des Moines is basically out of the picture. So after this, we're going to turn out hopefully and actually start get a bit preemptive and calling it GG. But after this, we're obviously going to turn back to A. And this is a bit of a I don't know how to describe it. It's a little bit of a strange game because generally you're not going to get free capping. Like once you go higher tiers, you're definitely not going to get free capping, especially against a Yu-Yang and a C-52. Very, very strange for them just to allow you to cap like that. And then when you add on top of that, generally there's going to be 2 raiders in pretty much any rank game, be it the Des Moines or a Stalingrad or something like that. So yeah, this is a bit of a strange game, but yeah, we used their torps pretty effectively actually. I sent them out more as like a zoning maneuver than anything else, to be honest, and then obviously they hit, so it wasn't all that bad. It's a bonus if they hit. It's good if they actually zone them away, because there's no real downside. Just being quick on the draw, quick in the fire. Just throw them in. Maybe they'll hit because they're 16.5 kilometers. That being said, our right hand side kind of collapsed a little bit, so it is 2 and 2. We've lost 2 BBs, but I'm pushing my way over now to support A, which you should always do. Shimikaze's in a bit of trouble because he is trying to take on a Z-52, which is very unadvisable. Again, at this point, I don't think either of us, well, I could probably take on the Z-52 just because the health advantage is so significant. But I think overall, they're in a pretty strong point, or a pretty strong situation. We lose the Shimikaze, and that means I am the only DD left in the game, because the Stalingrad luckily gets a final salvo on the Z-52, and he does go down. And what that means now is the only thing I really have to be worried about is the Hindenburg Hydro and the Des Moines radar. Now we do know that the Des Moines is on the other side of the map, so I'm basically free to torpedo all day long. Because the Hindenburg can't really stick with all of his BBs because they are pushing quite a wide line. Now my next goal is obviously to hit as many torpedoes as possible, but also focus a little bit on capping. And the thing is, I wanted to go for A cap, but the Hindenburg Hydro kind of scared me off a little bit. And if it's one thing I learned is that DDs and cruisers don't really mix, like at all. No.
Fire on the designated target.
So I'm really desperate to get this Hindenburg down. Smolensk I can deal with. Hindenburg, no. That being said, we're just staying undetected. Now at this point we're basically a torp boat. We're not hoping to open up, because simultaneously I'm acting as spotting for my team, and I'm also torpedoing. So I'm actually doing 2 things, and I'd lose one of those if I actually decided to smoke up and start shooting. And that obviously being the spotting, which is kind of an appreciated aspect of a DD play. I mean, like you could sit there spotting for your teammates, and you might actually not get all that much damage, but if you were to smoke up, your team would be absolutely, the game would be over because you wouldn't actually have any spotting. So that's something actually that not actually a lot of newer DD players don't actually focus on. Sometimes the best decision you can make is just do nothing and just keep them spotted. Now we are pretty lucky. We do get a fire on that Yamato. And we do fire 2 torpedo hits out, or 2 torpedo salvos. I think at that point I was thinking that the Yamato might have grounded on that island, but obviously he didn't.
Smoke screen set.
I push the acceleration module because I know I'm not going to actually be able to burn that guy down by the time he closes in distance to me. Also, when you add on to that, the fact that even if I launched probably my full torpedo load at him, I wouldn't be able to kill him. So I pop the acceleration mod and try and get away as quickly as possible. Which is probably the safest thing to do. Because I don't think he can actually kill me with one full salvo. Well, he probably could if he got a little bit of luck. But that wasn't going to happen. And we do get undetected. We're up to 109k now. The game's still pretty even. And this is going to be maybe more of a little rant at ranked gameplay, but the fact that you have to do this and the game's still even is really, really troubling to me. When you can play and get damage equating to this amount and then the game's still pretty much 50-50, it's it's a little bit troubling when you think of like what are my other teammates doing, to be honest. Now at this point the Smolensk is smoke firing, and that's a prime target to get torped. So we do fire 2 sets off, I think. Yep, there goes the second set. So we do get those off, and we're hoping that they hit. Because these torpedoes are actually really effective. They only have like a 1.4 kilometer detection range. So if you're sitting in smoke, you're not actually going to have enough time to react. They're going to be down on top of you by the time you can actually move. Even with a ship as nimble as the Smolensk. Which is a little bit broken. But, yeah, so that's what we're hoping for. Obviously Des Moines pretty much out of the battle. And the Kremlin is... I'm not that worried about the Kremlin, because the Hindenburg's dead. So I can stay out of range. I can successfully cap.
Concentrate fire on the designated target.
Unfortunately, it didn't look like the Smolensk had his Hydra running, which is always something you have to take into consideration. Not really all that much you could do. I mean, you can't predict his Hydra and then successfully actually predict torpedoes as a result. So again, we can't really cap A, even with the Smolensk running around that island. Or maybe actually we probably could have actually. That's probably a mistake on my part. So again, like the main focus with DDs is that you want to be focusing on capping, spotting, damage. You don't actually want to, because again, generally with guns your size, you're not going to want to be focusing on damage all that much. The utility you bring from the team to your team isn't around the damage output. That's a BB's job. The utility is around, as we ground here. The utility isn't about just dealing tons and tons and tons of damage outside of like the torpedo hits. It's about keeping targets spotted so that your ships can actually focus fire, not getting detected so you're actually useful later on into the game, and just being beneficial overall as a support to your team. So now we see Smolensk, and obviously the Kremlin probably seen those torps, so he's going to start pushing now. So again, we are winning. We're up 140 points. We don't actually have to do anything to further win.
Smoke generator started.
Now at this point the Kremlin's obviously... Oh, the curve first absolutely dumpsters him. We do get him spotted. He's spotted just by the curve first, pretty much. So we're free to actually attack at this point. Again, we don't have to spot him. We don't really have to cap because we're up basically 200 points, 250 points. So we're actually free to deal damage right now. And that's what we're focusing on. Basically DD is just basically a flowchart, to be honest. It's not get killed by carriers, survive the first 5 minutes of the game, and then cap, and if you can't cap you spot, and if you can't spot then you deal damage. That's pretty much the DD playbook. Now at this point we have our torpedoes back up. We throw out 3 salvos because obviously the Kremlin knows I'm on his left flank, so he's going to turn in as hard as possible. But sadly, it's not going to be hard enough.
Good show.
And if I wasn't alive right here, I probably, I think that Kremlin probably could have got the Venezia and the Curvers, because they're extremely low. But as it is, he dies, we win, we get a star, and it's GG's. And I hope you found this helpful.